Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I am Arif and I welcome you all to the next session of the lecture series on Internet Working with Linux. Today we are going to talk about Proxy Server, which is a program running on a computer that sits between a client computer and the Internet and provide indirect services to the client. Well, there are different types of proxy servers based on the functionality they perform, like web proxy, transparent proxy, anonymous proxy, tunneling proxy, forward proxy, and reverse proxy. Instead of going into the details of the types, let us move on to our board and see how a proxy server actually works. Okay. How a proxy server works. Let us consider a scenario having two machines with private network addresses, like let's suppose uh, our favorite Kali machine having the IP address of 192.168.1.101. And let's have another machine, let's suppose our Windows 10 machine having the IP address of 192.168.1.103. And let's suppose that these two are in a private network address space and are connected to a PTCL broadband router. PTCL broadband router with a public IP of let's suppose 182.176.161.212. Suppose a user on the Windows 10 machine uses a browser and makes a HTTP request for a web page of, let's suppose, google.com. The proxy server receives the request and first look in its local cache. If it finds the page, it returns that page to the Windows client without needing to forwarding the request to the internet and then to the Google server having google.com web page. However, if the page is not found in the cache of the proxy server or a PTCL broadband router, the proxy server acting as a client on behalf of the user uses its own public IP address and sends an HTTP request to this Google server. When the page is received back to the proxy server relates it to the original request and send it back to the Windows client. Now we have a fair idea of how a basic proxy server works. Let us discuss the uses that we can make of a proxy server. Let me write it down. Let me change color as well. Uses of proxy server. The first use is network connection sharing. Network connection sharing. Well, this use is very obvious. As you can see, there can be a lot of computers other than Kali as well as Windows on the local area network which can access internet using this proxy server. You should not confuse a proxy server and a gateway computer. The common task that both performs is that they route traffic from inside a network to the internet. A gateway, however, is more like a door to get to the internet, while a proxy server acts like a wall that bars the inside of the network from being exposed to the internet. Well, the other use is it improves performance. Improves performance. Well, you can configure a proxy server to manage a huge cache to store recently accessed web pages, and that's how it quickly replies to your request instead of forwarding them to the internet. The third use is it can block sites. Suppose an organization wants that its employees should not spend time on social networking during office hours. So the network administrator of that organization can configure the proxy server to block any outgoing traffic to sites like Facebook or WhatsApp. The other use is log activities. A proxy server can also keep a log of which websites a client have visited or tried to visit if they are banned. The organization can also keep track of how much time an employee has spent on using Facebook or doing online shopping during office hours. The other use is you can use proxy server to bypass security restrictions. Suppose many work offices have blocked Facebook via proxy server. You can use your own proxy server or one available on the internet to access those blocked websites. Another use is using a proxy server we can block malicious traffic. It is difficult, although not impossible, to attack a machine having a private IP address and connect it to the internet via a proxy server. So a hacker first needs to hack or get around the proxy server to reach this Windows 10 machine. So this is how you sitting behind a proxy server feel more secure as compared to sitting on a machine having a public IP address. Another use is you can obscure your IP. A hacker can use proxy server to hide his or her footprints while attacking an internet resource. Let us discuss this point on another board. Proxy for hiding footprints. Okay, suppose you are sitting on a Kali machine in Lahore. Having a public IP address, let's suppose 182.176.161. 212 and tries to attack a machine, suppose located in Karachi. This is the target machine, having a public IP of, let's suppose, 212.65.35.1. Once you attack that machine, a good admin might come to know and will block this IP, your IP. So next time you will not be able to access that machine. And if the offense is serious, some agency might track you from your IP using various services which are available on the internet. For example, let me move on to this. If you visit whatismyip.com, it displays your IP, your city, your state, country, and the ISP which is providing you this IP. And from this information, the agency can easily track you down to your home in Lahore. Similarly, there are others as well, like IP address location.org, which performs the same task. It tells you about this information. It also tells you the map, the operating system which you are using, the browser which you are using, and a lot of other information as well. So what is the solution? Let me move back to the board. The solution is use a proxy server. There are a lot of public proxy servers available on the internet which provide services free as well, and you may have to pay certain dollars to them. Suppose you get hold of a proxy server in New York having the public IP of 105.54.10.20. You use this proxy server to attack this machine. So now the administrator at the target machine will not be able to track your IP, rather will get and may block the IP of this proxy server. Next time you can use another proxy server, for example, a proxy server located in India having an IP of 110.25.60.2, and you attack this machine via this proxy server. So proxy servers allow you to bounce your traffic from your computer to another proxy server on the internet. There is a whole list of proxy servers which you can find on the internet. Let me move on to this and show you certain free proxy server. One is proxyforfree.com. Do visit it and see what all services it provides. You can use proxify.com, which hides your IP address, makes you anonymous, bounce your connections around the world, and so on. And you can go with st-proxyswitcher.com. Once you use this proxy server, it switches your proxy every second. You may also like to use Tor, the onion router. This is a browser and it protects you by bouncing your communication around a distributed network of relays run by volunteers all around the world. Let us not make this a hacking session and move to the Linux terminal for installing, configuring, and using the proxy server. Well, there is a long list of available proxy programs like CC proxy, Wingate proxy, Nginx proxy, as well as the squid proxy. Well, we will be using squid proxy. Let me place the board aside and start doing with the installation of squid proxy server. Fconfig, Well, right now this is a Ubuntu server machine having the IP of 192.168.1.100. Uh, it is not advisable to have a proxy server on a machine having a private IP address, but just for learning purposes we can do that job. Host name is Ubuntu Server. Let me install by apt-get install squid, the squid package, as well as squid-common package. So, well, this is the newest version. Let us use Kali machine to log on to the Ubuntu server machine because this is more readable. Let me log into Ubuntu server. SSH root at 192.168.1.100. Let me give the password. Well, I am on Ubuntu server machine as root. I'm just using this because this is not that much readable. This is better than that. Okay, so let me move on to the @c squid directory. This is the directory where the configuration file is there, and the configuration file is, let me use relative path, squid.conf. Okay, so this is a huge file. Let me use set number option to have the lines. You can see there are a lot of lines. It is a huge file having about 8,000 lines in it. Most of the lines in this configuration file are comments. Well, let us search for a directive that is visible underscore hostname. Okay, so let me set this directive. Visible underscore hostname, and let me set it to Arif Proxy Server. And let me also see the port number. Let me search for the http underscore port directive. And you can see over here http underscore port is 3128. So squid normally listens to port 3128. So let's keep the remaining values as default, save and exit, and let me restart the service. Systemctl restart squid.service. And let me check the status. Of squid. Well, it is up and running. Now let us move on to the client machine. Okay, our client machine is Windows 10 and we want to access the internet. Let's use the Google Chrome. You can use Internet Explorer as well. Let's set the proxy first. Go to settings, write down proxy over here, LAN settings. Let me write down the proxy to the IP of our Ubuntu server, 192.168.1.100. Let me give the port number as 3128. Press OK, OK, and let me visit google.com. Oops. Well, you can see we have got an error over here, and below here it says generated on this date and time by Arif Proxy Server. So this name has come from the parameter that is visible underscore host name, the value which we have changed. So that means our Windows machine is accessing successfully the proxy server, but the the default settings are such that no client can access the internet. Let us move back. So we are on our Ubuntu Server machine. Let me copy the squid.com file and save it as squid.com.original to have a backup. And for our ease, let us remove all the comment lines from that file so that the file becomes a bit small. Let me use grep-ve and all the lines that have a hash and -ve again, and all the lines blank lines. I'm not interested in the blank lines as well. And let me use squid.conf.original and let me redirect the output file to squid.conf. Okay, let me now vim squid.conf, and you can see this is a small file now. This is not a huge file. It does not have the comment lines. And this last line is the line which we changed, Arif Proxy Server, and this is also the line which we discussed. Okay. What we need to do is we just need to edit a line that is HTTP access. Over here, this line says HTTP access denial, and let me change it to HTTP access allow all, and let me save and exit, and let me do systemctl restart. Let me now check the status. While it is up and running, let's move over here now and again try google.com. Let's see whether we are successful in accessing it or not. Well, we are successful. Well, dear students, being a system administrator, if you want to block some websites that the client should not be able to visit, you can do that by creating an access control list element and an access control list rule in the configuration file. Let me open the file vim squid.conf. Let me write down some rules. ACL, this is this directive says that I'm going to create an ACL element, and this must start with a word ACL. Then I need to give the name for this directive. Let me say bad underscore site1. The third ACL element is the type of that element, and let me write down DST over here. Well, DST specifies a destination IP address or a destination name. There are other types as well, like source, port, time, source domain, destination domain, method, and so on. Let me use DST and let me write down www.youtube.com, and let me write down, let me use another ACL and let me name it bad site 2, and this bad site 2 is www. Let's suppose facebook.com. So these are the two ACL elements I have created. The next task is I need to add access list rule. and that starts with http underscore access. It is the most common type of access rule. Uh, Others can be SNMP access, HTCP access, ICAP access, log access, and so on. And then I can write down deny or allow over here, and then I need to give the name of the ACL element, that is bad underscore site 1. Let me copy paste it and let me block this as well. So writing these 4 lines means I have blocked youtube.com and facebook.com. Let me save and exit, and let me restart, and let me check the status now. Systemctl status squid.service. Well, it is again up and running. Let me move on to here, and let me use youtube.com, and let me try facebook.com as well, and you can see both these sites can't be reached. However, if I write down arifbat.me, google.com is also available, YouTube is not available, Facebook can't be reached, and arifbat.me can be reached. So we have successfully blocked 2 websites. Let us move back. Open the configuration file again. A point to be kept in mind is that these access list rules, there are other rules as well in this file, they are checked in the order they are written. Access list rules are searched from top to bottom, and the searching terminates as soon as one of the rule is a match. Similarly, if there is a long list of websites, suppose you want to block a lot of websites, you can write those URLs in a text file, 1 per line, and later create an ACL element like this, an ACL rule in this file. Similarly, you can create a lot of other filters as well, like blocking a specific client to access the internet, like blocking the use of internet during specific time of the day. You can prevent downloading executable files. You can also block URLs containing specific words. Okay, so let me quit this file. Let me move on to the Kali terminal over here. Remember, this is a Kali terminal. We are on machine Kali as user Arif. Let me do sudo if config. So you can see I'm on Kali with IP of 192.168.1.101. Let me do wget http google.com. As you can see, I can successfully access it. And I have not visited the proxy server running on Ubuntu server. The proxy server is not configured for the Kali machine. Kali is directly accessing the internet via PTCL broadband router and is not using the proxy server running on a Ubuntu server machine. If on the command line you want to set the proxy, you can write down export http underscore proxy is equal to http colon 192.168.1.100, the IP 3128, the port, and you can do this for HTTPS as well. Okay, so let's try again. wget http google.com. So now you can see that we are going to try to connect to 192.168.1.100 at port 3128. That is the Ubuntu server machine running the proxy server, and we are requesting for that. Let me move on to our server and let's find out what is happening over here by seeing the log file var log squid, and the name of the file is access.log. You can see a lot of activities taking place over here. There are about 8 or 9 different columns which are over here. The first column contains the time, then you have the elapsed time between request and response of squid. You can also see the IP of the client, that is 192.168.1.101. Then you can see the squid result string and the HTTPS status code. Then you can see the connect or the get method. Then you can see the URL. So all these are there on a single line. You can see. Okay, over here you can see we have successfully activated the proxy on the command line of Linux, and we are accessing the internet via this. Well, dear students, we have seen practically the different uses of proxy server, like network connection sharing, blocking different URLs, and we can see logs for different client requests as well. I'm leaving few tasks for you as assignment. Use cache directory directive, cache dir directive. You can use this in the squid configuration file to create a cache directory and set its size and other parameters. After setting that, you can go to Windows 10 machine and download a file which is over 10 MB and note the time it takes for the first download. And you can repeat the same on Kali machine later and note the difference in the time. And with that, you will come to know how performance is improved while enabling and keeping a large size of cache with Squid Server. The other task I'm leaving on to you are related to security, which you will do with more interest, I think. Please use proxify.com and Tor browser and see how you can surf the web privately and securely. Please do use a proxy server, free proxy server of your own to visit the websites that are banned in your organization, just for once and just for fun. And do spend a bit of time and see different virtual private networks, that is VPN servers, which are available on the internet, and understand why a VPN is said to be a better substitute of a proxy server. I hope the session was informative. If you have liked it, subscribe my YouTube channel and share it with your friends. Happy learning, and Allah Hafiz.